All right, we have 5.6 slope-intercept form today. So writing our equations of a line. So slope-intercept form, just so we remember, is y equals mx plus b. And as a gentle reminder, again, slope and y-intercept. Okay. All right, so we are graphing these guys. So I'm going to go ahead and make myself a little 4-quadrant graph on here. The first thing that we always graph is our slope. Oops, sorry, is our y-intercept. So again, sorry, we plot our y-intercept first. So on my y-axis, I'm going to go ahead and go down to -2 and put a dot. Okay, so again, my y-intercept goes first, and then I have to apply my slope. Since my slope is 3/4 and it's positive, that means we rise and then we run. So from that point, I'm going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to run 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and put a new dot. Up 3, run 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I've got some good dots on there. If you wanted to work backwards, you have to make everything backwards. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3. We can go down, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, once you've got a bunch of dots on your graph, go ahead and play connect the dots. And there's our first line. Again, y-intercept of -2, and then from there we apply our slope. All right, let's try another example. So I'm going to make myself a little 4-quadrant graph. All right, we graph our y-intercept first. This time we have a y-intercept of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put my dot up there. And then my slope is -2. So if my slope is -2, please remember that it's written as -2/1, which means I fall 2, and then I run 1. Okay, so if I fall 2, down 2, run 1, fall 2, run 1. And I can keep putting those dots on there. And I'm going to play connect the dots. All right, let's move on to our next part. So our next part is actually writing equations. So again, I'm going to write y equals mx plus b. And I'm going to remind you that that m is your slope and that b is your y-intercept. So when they ask you to write equations and they give you the slope and they give you the y-intercept, they're just asking you to put it into the appropriate spots that we have right there. So I'm going to write it as y equals my slope. I'm replacing the m with 1/3. We got our x, and then our y-intercept is 6 plus 6. All right, let's check another one. So we have a slope of -12 and a y-intercept of -1/2. So again, y equals the first piece, the m that we fill in as our slope, so -12 with our x, and then our y-intercept is -1/2, so minus 1/2. Okay? All right, now this one's a little bit different because now I have a slope and I have a point. So I am going to write y equals mx plus b. All right, I'm going to remind you that the first point on there is x, the second point is y. So what I know on here is my slope is my m, so I'm going to put my 4 in there. I also know what my x value is, so I'm going to put a 2. And I also know what my y value is. I'm going to put a 5. So the only thing I don't know is b, so I'm going to write plus b. So I'm going to solve this and figure out what b is. So 8 is what I get here. 4 times 2 is 8. Plus b. I need to get b by itself, so I'm going to minus 8. Minus 8, that gives me b equals -3. Now remember that your b is just your y-intercept, okay? So when I go to write my final answer, I'm going to have y equals, we already knew that the slope was 4, so 4 next to my x, and then my y-intercept is -3, so -3. All right, that's the first time we've written an equation from a point and a slope, so let's try again. Again, my equation is y equals mx plus b. My slope is my m. My point, I have an x and a y. So I'm going to fill in everything I know. My slope is 8. My x value is 3. My y value is -1. And I don't know what b is. So now I'm going to go ahead and solve this. So I've got -1 is equal to 8 times 3 is 24 plus my b. I need to get b by itself, so I'm going to minus 24 over to the other side. Whoops. 24, I wrote 25 because I was jumping to the answer. So my answer is b equals -25. So when I write my final answer, the equation, it would be y equals, I put my slope in there of 8 next to my x, and then my y-intercept was -25. All right, now last but not least, it asks us to graph this guy. Now, when we graph, we've been talking a lot about making sure it looks like y equals mx plus b. So a skill we practiced back in chapter 4 is getting this y all by itself so that it can look like y equals mx plus b. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go minus 3x minus 3x. That gives me 2y is equal to, and again, we want it to match this equation over here, so I'm going to put my x first, negative 3x plus 8. All right, last but not least, we got to get that y by itself, so divide out the 2 and divide out the 2. So that gives me y equals, and everything over here needs to be divided by 2, so I'm going to divide the negative 3 by 2, put my x next to it, and I'm going to divide the 8 by 2, which would give me plus 4. So when I go to graph this guy, remembering that we always graph our y-intercept first. So my y-intercept is 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put a dot up there. All right, and then I'm going to apply my slope. So it says negative 3 over 2 for my slope. So remember that's fall down 3 and run 2. So fall down 3, 1, 2, 3, and run 2. Fall down 3, 1, 2, 3, run 2. And we play connect the dots. Okay. Now again, this was a skill rewriting this in y equals that was from chapter 4. So let's practice one more time. Okay. Our goal is for it to read y equals mx plus b. So I got to get this y by itself. I'm going to minus the 6x minus the 6x. That gives me 2y is equal to negative 6x plus 10. Okay. I'm going to divide by 2. Divide by 2, and I get y equals, and again, make sure you do the division on both parts, negative 6x divided by 2 gives me negative 3x, and 10 divided by 2 gives me 5. All right, so when I go to graph this guy, I have a y-intercept at 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I put my dot, and I have a slope of negative 3. So remember that's negative 3 over top of 1. So I'm falling 3 and running 1. So I'm going to fall 1, 2, 3, run 1. Fall 1, 2, 3, run 1. And I can keep doing that pattern. And then I just play connect the dots. And I have it graphed.